What's up, fellas? Round one. Fight. Hello. You guys say something. I need to make sure that I'm set.
Hey, what's up?
Jesus Christ.
Chucky, you need to, or not Chucky, Nance, you need to change your
we have
name.
fighter names tonight.
We have fighter names tonight.
We got Chucky the Rance McMyers and Ryan the Glitch McCurdy. He's making a joke about how terrible his camera is.
It's not the camera. It's not the camera.
Noticed. It's the computer. Who knows what it is?
It's got to be the computer.
Somebody super chat McCurdy $5 so he can fix his stupid issues.
I think I know what it is. I think it's the computer's battery because it's drawing. The battery on this computer is not the best.
Plug it in.
It is plugged in. It's the laptop. It's plugged in.
Okay.
How do I change my name if I want to?
You click on the little 3 circles tab next to your picture, and then you go to edit name, and then you can change your name to a fighter name.
I can't confirm that
I don't have that.
Any or all of these people are still members, but we're going to honor them again as usual.
Thanks for being a member or at one time being a member.
Yeah, thanks for coming and going. How about Vuck, you mother Vucker?
Hey.
What's up, Vuck? Cheers to Vuck.
There we go.
Really hope YouTube doesn't register Vuck as the other word, you know?
We'll just stop saying
Nico, you're my favorite person today.
Nico. Okay, well, fellas, we saw a little movie called Creed 3. Let's talk about it.
Was it little?
Okay.
Was it a little movie?
I'm gonna rock. You ready? I'm gonna rocky and roll. Creed 3 officially welcomes us to 2023 as we exit the obligatory doldrums of January and February. Finally, a real movie with real characters and drama and a clear theme we're left to ponder. Regret. As an old friend of Adonis Creed comes back as an enemy looking to steal back the life he believes Creed stole from him. It may not be as perfect as the first Creed, and it may not have the extreme dramatic highs and lows of the second Creed, but it certainly has the most interesting and unique nemesis of the Rocky Creed franchise to date, leading to the ultimate message of the film. Sometimes words are not enough. Sometimes when communication fails, someone who can punch should aim their fist directly into the face of a dude who simply needs to get hit. A reminder that actions have consequences, and so long as we live in a physical reality, use your words just doesn't cut it. Creed 3 may not be a list topper for the Rocky Creed franchise or otherwise, but it certainly acts as a reminder that this franchise is always bringing it, and you should support it with your money and attention. Mr. McCurdy.
Oh, is it my turn?
It's your turn, sir.
We never did, we never did we never did. I'm McCurdy. I'm Chucky, but you know what?
I think our show always brings it. And
our names are literally sitting right next to our faces, so
I'm just giving you shit.
Y'all can figure it out.
All right, guys, let's get ranked.
3,000 subs. We're superstars. Everybody know my name. You know what I'm saying? Chucky the Rance McMyers. Know what I mean? And then Nance. Nance doesn't even need to change his name. He's just.
You know what we needed? We really needed to start this episode with all right, in this corner, one of those little. We needed that, but we don't.
Somebody super chat us $10,000, and we'll start bringing the production.
Oh
down,
yeah,
okay,
absolutely. All right, gentlemen, let's get ranked. Project 2023, and if you haven't already, please buy our merch because I haven't yet. And I really
only
want
if you want to. Just get it. Please. Just get the logo on. I need to get the logo on a shirt.
I need to get that mug. I need to get the Dolph Humanoids shirt, sweatshirts. Who's rocking that? Did you say it was Huevos who's rocking all this?
That's Mr.
It's Huevos.
He's also our
every
first
week
comment of the night.
And guys,
Adrian.
And guys, if
she's back in this movie, spoilers.
What?
All right. Quit being my daughter. All right.
Is Talia Shire in this? Anyway, yeah. Okay, let's move forward. Enough merch.
But, guys, if you want to the followers, if you want to be on the show, send us photos of you with your shirt.
Otherwise, it's just going to be
stickers, or it's going to be.
You have a hot sister or mother or aunt
Stick
Girlfriend.
or
a sticker on their
grandma,
forehead.
put them in a Dolph Humanoid shirt, snap a couple of sexy photos of grandma, and send them our way. We will not abuse that.
Via the Discord.
I feel like extra points if you can get grandma on the shirt. To be honest, if you can get on any of these,
Grandma in one of these shirts.
McCurdy likes grandmas.
they're dear. They're lovely people. I mean, why wouldn't you like grandmas? Why would you say otherwise? All right, Creed 3, directed by Michael B. Jordan, story by
Who's Michael
Ryan.
B. Jordan?
We'll get there. Just
See the one on the right?
Just wait. Just wait. I decided to go with this poster because it shows both Jonathan Majors and Michael B. Jordan. I think this poster's dope.
Well, those are two different posters. That
yeah,
have
they
been put
are, but
together.
they were like mashed together. I
Yeah.
saw this when I was in the theater. I was like, I love this. This looks cool. I
Yeah.
think it does a better job of displaying the movie's theme versus any of the other posters that they had. Okay, so story by Ryan Coogler, Keegan Coogler, and Zach Balin, written by Keegan Coogler and Zach Balin, based on characters by Sylvester Stallone, who is not in this movie.
Ryan, the name butcher McCurdy.
Yeah.
You said Sylvester Stallone correctly, so.
Yeah, I did. I did say that. All right, so let's start off because I think this is the thing that most people are going to talk about with this movie, and that is Stallone's not in this one. And that's kind of like, wait, what? He's not in this movie? Because he has been the name bearer of the franchise. He has basically, made this franchise what it is for many, many films. I mean, he wrote the first one, for God's sakes. Like, he wrote... Yeah. He created the character. He did all that stuff. So simplest reason for not having Stallone in the movie comes down to who owns the rights to the franchise. Even though Stallone wrote the original and many of the sequels, actually, I looked it up. Yeah, he wrote all the sequels except for the Creed films. Irwin Winkler owns the film rights going all the way back to the very first film. The two have feuded over the direction of the films ever since. I believe the story-wise, though, Coogler and Jordan wanted Adonis Creed to get out of the shadows of Rocky Balboa, and to do so would mean to not have Rocky in the story. However, paraphrasing here, Jordan did say he wanted to keep the underdog spirit of the films, which is true to Rocky. Stallone was upset with the darker tone of this film, but wished everyone the best. So it's like, I guess he's upset, obviously, that, he wasn't in the movie. But, he's also like, that's fine. You guys, I hope you guys do well.
I'm okay with him not being, because I'm the whole time you're like, when's Rocky showing up? And then, and we're not really in spoilers because this doesn't really spoil anything. If anything, it kind of helps.
If he was
you
in
out
the
going
movie, he
into
would
it,
have been
but-
in the trailer. Like,
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, I get it. I understand. They're like, okay, there were 17 Rocky movies. Now it's Creed. Now, and he said in the second movie, he was like, I think it was the second movie. He's like, "Is your turn, kid?" Like it's passing the torch.
He has
but
a
it's
great
shocking.
moment. Yeah, he's
That
got a
being
great
said-
moment at the end of that movie.
That being said, it's shocking that they wouldn't milk the death of Rocky. And maybe he'll come back in Creed 4 and there'll be the death of Rocky. But you would think that, like, it's almost like an obligation at this point. Like, if you're like he has to go like Mickey went in what Rocky 2 or whatever, like you would think they would do that, but maybe that's in the back pocket.
Yeah, and I think I agree with you. I think it was the smarter decision not to include him. But I think we should talk about it more as we go on. Moving to the
and
next...
which by the way, so Nico just pointed out, which
Yeah.
I was going to ask, didn't he win an Oscar for?
Yeah, he did.
Rocky 1, and he did.
He did. They won. I think it won Best Picture.
Yes.
I know it won Best Picture. I don't know about Best Screenplay or Best Actor for that year, but that movie's got a.
I think
that movie's got a very
screenplay.
interesting story, just because he like Stallone wrote this movie, like, and I think people forget that, like he's got this macho, he's the macho man persona.
Meathead,
of the
yeah.
80s.
Oh, it's just a bit.
But he wrote.
awesome.
He's a
He writes like most
screenwriter.
of the movies that he is in or directs or
Yeah,
like he wrote
and
Rambo.
He directed all of the good, like at least most people would say he directed all of the good ones, except for he didn't direct the first one because they wouldn't let him direct. He didn't direct the fifth one, which I don't know why. I didn't look into it. But then he directed 2, 3, 4, and then he directed the unofficial 6, Rocky Balboa. So like he's no dummy. You know what I mean? He's no dummy. He ain't no dummy. All right, let's go moving on real quick. So there's a quick little anime connection with these films. Michael B. Jordan who
Okay,
he-
sorry to interrupt. No, so it won Best Picture, Best Director, and Best Film Editing. So
Okay.
but then like nominations for everything, but Sly, which is Sylvester Stallone's nickname, Sly didn't get anything. It looks like, unfortunately, but film editing makes sense because that's like a big selling point of every one of these movies is we're gonna need a montage.
There's so many montage.
Yeah.
All right, so the anime connection, I should say. Director Michael B. Jordan stated in an interview that some of the fight choreography and relationships in the film are directly influenced by anime. Specifically, the scene where Adonis and Dame punch each other at the same time. So if I get real nerdy real quick, it was pulled from episode 450 of Naruto Shippuden. I've never watched Naruto, so I've watched
We need
Dragon
Scott
Ball Z.
back.
We need
If we want to talk
Yeah,
Naruto,
Scott would know
we
about
need
Naruto.
Scott.
But I pulled the
DBZ I
image.
see
I
over
pulled the
there.
image right here. But of course, yeah. So when he
Well,
was
I
coming up
noticed
with
in the him as a kid, his bedroom had anime posters and
Yeah.
like cars and girls and stuff. But I noticed the anime stuff, and I was like, "Oh, that's
Yeah.
interesting.
So
That's
what?
pretty
Michael B.
cool."
Jordan be a nerd?
yeah, Jordan is a huge anime fan, and he
Nice.
says he watches anime almost every day. So
Wow.
see a little bit of that in here, like especially like you got Goku, Vegeta from Dragon Ball Z. They're
One
almost like
Punch Man,
brothers.
unfortunately.
Michael be a nerd, Jordan. That's
Michael
great.
B. All right, next up we got the writers of this movie because I just thought this was hilarious. In my own weird way, I guess. I don't know why. Of course, we got Ryan Coogler returns as a producer on Creed 3 and has a story by credit for this one. Coogler had directed Michael B. Jordan in his breakout indie film Fruit Valley Station in 2013. Directed him in what did I say? Fruit Valley.
Just keep going. I'll just
You'll just keep referring to Nico's.
I'll correct
name
on the
butchering.
fly, and you
I'll
just
put it
keep
up.
going.
Oh, I love that.
You beautiful man, you.
I feel like I'm getting bullied on this show. Oh wait, I am. I'm being tied down. I forgot. Send help. Directed him in Creed and Black Panther. Coogler's brother, Keenan, wrote this film with Zach Balin. Keenan Coogler's other major screenplay credit is from 2021's Space Jam Legacy. Check out Charlie and I's review we did on that from 2021.
Oh
It's a
my
doozy.
gosh. Forgot.
Spoiler:
Keenan.
It's not good.
Keenan was also an assistant to his brother on the first Creed film. You could say he's moving up in the world. You could say that, or riding his coattails a little bit. But Balin got his start in the art department. He actually has a bunch of listings on different either props, set deck, things like that. But his most recent other screenwriting credit, is King Richard, which slapped its way to the Oscars in 2022 or 2021, whenever it was. I forget now.
This way?
Is that a Will Smith joke?
That's a Will Smith joke, guys.
Okay.
Because he was in King Richard and he got nominated for King Richard, and that was the same Oscars that he slapped Chris Rock.
Yeah.
It's not funny when you have to explain it, guys.
Yeah.
All right, of course. We got Michael B. Jordan, plays Adonis Hollywood Donnie Johnson Creed, aka Baby Creed. Literally, you look him up, that character has 100 different names. And makes his directorial debut with this film. I think we should note that Sylvester Stallone, we did talk about this, who had written the first Rocky, also went on to direct Rocky 2, 3, 4, and Rocky Balboa, respectively. Jordan had his first role on The Sopranos. He even had a small role on an episode of Cosby in 1999, not to be confused with The Cosby Show, but it also did star Bill Cosby, where he starred opposite of Felicia Rashad, who was one of the lead co-stars on that show as well. So you can kind of see she never knew that this little kid
Are there
that
any
was on the
jokes
show.
to be made with Cosby?
I don't think so. I don't have any Cosby jokes.
Are you
There's
talking
nothing-
about jokes that include drugging women and
Yeah,
taking
that's
advantage of them?
just
Is that what
he's a
you're
comedian?
Is that
what you're talking about?
no.
No, I would never.
Let's just move on. Well,
Yeah,
real
Jordan
quick,
went
though,
on.
real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Michael B. Jordan, though, is there's a consistent theme through all of these movies of hard work and commitment and not making excuses
And making it on your own, on
and
your
that's
own merit.
why and in doing so you can rise above your means or whatever it may be, and so
Heck
you
yeah.
go from Stallone, who embodies that both on screen and off, and then you have that same thing with Michael B. Jordan, and he's like, they're both such admirable people, and it's perfect. It's like it was written in the stars that, he just, whatever. Stallone sat down one night and starts writing Rocky, and it changes his life, and it's still going today. And just by, writing a couple of words, it's like it was written in the stars that then, the natural succession would go to the son, the illegitimate son of Apollo Creed, and then who do they find? They find Michael B. Jordan, and the guy, like, it's dedication beyond belief to watch it, and it's embodied in the training montages and all that. And then on top of that, he decides he's gonna start directing too. Like just admirable dude. Just like man's
I got more to say.
Amazing.
I got more to say to him, but I think we'll share. I think I'll say what I'm going to say later. But of course, again, also in Fruitvale Station, because I screwed that one up. And then where he also went on to play the Marvel villain Eric Killmonger in Black Panther. Speaking of Black Panther in the Marvel films, Kang the Conqueror plays Damian Diamond
What
Dame
movie is
Anderson.
I feel like I've seen it, but I don't remember.
You've seen this movie?
I already forgot this. What is this?
Okay, that was a joke, of course.
Is this a recent movie?
Bad jokes, yes. So see our episode on Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania to see how we felt about that one. And of course, we did toast to Jonathan Majors.
We did.
It's very
really
much
good.
up and coming. This is like his second movie coming out this year. He actually had a film that came out in Sundance as well, so kind of his third movie. This guy's his star is rising, you could say. He's got a rising star.
Yeah.
Next up, we've got Valkyrie, plays Bianca Taylor. Okay, I'll stop.
Valkyrie plays Bianca.
I'm just pointing out that the three leads in this movie are all Marvel characters.
Everybody who has a name
I hadn't even thought
in
of that.
Hollywood,
Everybody
they're
who's
all
in
in
the
the
name,
MCU.
They're all in the MCU. Everybody in this movie, with the exception of
Dude, Sylvester Stallone is in the MCU.
He's
in Guardians of the Galaxy. So
exactly.
You could just keep going and going.
We go and going, yeah.
Dude, the trainer.
Who is he in Guardians?
His trainer is in the first Ant-Man and the second Ant-Man.
Or he's just in it? He's
his
not
trainer,
a voice character?
the guy from The Wire. You know what I'm talking about? Like his
yeah,
trainer.
yeah. But
there are the two cops. Okay, so there's Ant-Man's wife, right? His ex-wife.
Yeah.
His ex-wife remarried. That guy's a cop, and his partner is the trainer. So like literally everybody in this movie.
Oh my god.
Is in the MCU.
Oh my god.
If you
Dude,
are
I
an
did not pick
actor,
that up.
it's no different than like if you're British and you're an
Felix?
actor, you're in Game of Thrones and Harry
and
Potter.
that
Like, you just
actor's
are.
Wood.
So
Yeah,
if you have a name, you're in the MCU.
That actor is Wood Harris, is the one
Okay.
you're talking about. But yes,
Yeah.
I did not put that together. But yeah, because it's such a minor role in that movie. And now you said that, and I was like, wait, what? And then I'm looking it up, and of course, yeah.
Nico, if that's true, I'm gonna have to watch that movie because he
is
so good.
he plays
Quantumania
Gale
and in this movie.
He
Magazine
plays Gale.
Dreams. Okay.
That's the one. Yeah, that's the one.
And
that,
even his acting
he was
in the
in.
movies I've seen him in makes me curious to see what is it, Devotion, which to me just looks like Red Tails, which is supposedly a horrible movie.
Red Tails was okay. I think Red Tails could have been better.
But what is this Devotion movie? I don't know. It makes me curious.
I think it's a World War. I don't want to say it's World War II. It could be Vietnam, but it's about two fighter pilots during that era. Okay, so we got Tessa Thompson plays Bianca Taylor. This is the third time playing Bianca Taylor, who's going deaf. Like that's been a reoccurring thing since the first film.
Really good reviews. I'm gonna have to watch that.
And then she's in she plays Valkyrie, of course, in the Marvel Thor films. She was also in Westworld. And then she's also had roles in Selma and Dear White People. And then finally, from our actors, we've got Felicia Rashad. And I originally thought that she was in the old movies as Creed's wife, and she's not. So
Oh,
this
really?
came-
I thought she was. a
I
green
thought
flag.
for some reason I thought she was. I think
Yeah.
it's just because she has that presence that most people would recognize her. Like, oh, she's recognizable. But of course, her best. She's best known for her role on the Cosby Show as Claire Huxtable. She also
Do we
a
ever see
two-time-
Creed's wife though? In like,
I don't-
is
I don't remember.
there
if
another
she
actress,
shows
or
up
do we
in
just
4.
never even see?
Mm.
I don't remember ever seeing.
I don't
his wife.
remember 4 at all. So I don't
Yeah.
remember if she ever showed up. If it was like the idea was like he was off screen, or she was off screen, or something like
Yeah.
that. But yeah, she was in that. And then that
Wait,
show
Nico's
that I
saying
told
we
you
do.
about.
Wait, Nico, are you talking about? Are you answering this question? Are you saying we see Creed's wife and she's played by a different actress? I rewatched all the Creeds. I did not rewatch all the Rockies because
Yeah, me neither.
again, there's
Yeah,
17 of them.
same.
So we'll do that someday. But
There's like 6. There's 6 of them. They're not that many. But
We
there's-
should rank those next.
yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so
maybe.
he says in Rocky 2 when Apollo gets mad.
All right,
yeah.
let me look up Rocky 2. But
But-
anyway,
But yeah, move on.
moving on. That's all I've got, guys. Nans, what'd you think of this movie?
We need a
I
new
really liked
Nans
it.
pick.
We need a new Nans photo.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like that one.
Do you real quick though before we move on, the current standings of the list, 2023 movies. This is where you should do it, McCurdy. 2023 movies.
Let's get
I did
ready
not
to
like
get
the announcer.
right.
the
Get
third one.
right.
I will say
get
that he looked like
Infinity
he was out of
Pool.
Hunger Games. Like
Wait, you
Oh
what?
yeah, I
What?
forgot about that. Yeah, he's got.
it
the
wasn't like your
dreads.
normal announcer dude. It was some guy with a weird hairdo
Yeah, he
and
had the weird
sunglasses.
hair,
He,
yeah,
he
yeah,
kind
yeah.
of okay. For a second, I was like, "Is this that? Is he the voice of somebody in SpongeBob?" He sounded like Plankton. I swear, he sounded like Plankton. Can you look that up while I read the list?
All right,
And then
I
he
will-
look up the
he did
the
like his
Plankton guy?
I will
own.
look that up.
He did his own echo or something.
He
weird.
did. He kind of repeated a word.
It was
at
like a
some
lot,
point, right?
yeah, Adonis Creed. And
Yeah,
then
yeah,
he
yeah,
did
yeah,
it.
where-
He did it for majors
Like,
too.
you don't.
Damien
You
or
don't
whatever.
hey, dude, you don't have to do the echo. It automatically echoes off the wall.
It's
Okay,
like he
the
holds up
list.
the mic.
Creed.
Infinity Pool, M3gan, Missing, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, Magic Mike's Last Dance, Knock at the Cabin, Plane, Cocaine, Piece of Shit Bear.
That was a pretty good movie. I like that one.
This is so good.
I would highly recommend every movie on this list except Infinity Pool.
We got a comment from somebody that was like, "Well, hang on a second. Cocaine Bear is based on a true story." I was like, "Dude, it's based on a bear that ate some cocaine and died. It's not like literally none of the movie is true. Like a bear didn't eat a bunch of cocaine and then go on like a weird killing rampage. Like that didn't
All right.
like literally nothing in the movie happened for real, but
Go watch.
did you look up Plankton?
video?
I
if you
really want to
haven't.
know if that guy
No,
is Plankton.
No, but he is a ring announcer. He was also in Southpaw and Senior Moments.
But he's not Plankton?
No.
Damn it.
I'll double check. I will double check. Let me double check.
Yeah, who is the voice? Okay.
He's only at
Who
his
is
listings
the
on
voice of
he's
can't
only
like him.
listing he only has 3. No, he's always a boxing announcer in everything he's been in. So he's
Okay.
yeah,
So he's a
that's
pro.
He's a pro.
Get him out.
He's not Plankton. He's got 3
Looks
yeah, he's
ridiculous.
got 3 credits and every single one it's a boxing announcer, ring announcer. So
I'm looking
6
at
credits. Sorry, he's
photos
got
of the guy who plays Plankton, and I'm like, if you gave him like a weird bun thing,
It took me a second, but he looks too goobery.
Yeah, this guy's name is David Diamant.
Who cares? Who cares
Diamant.
about this
Yeah.
guy?
yeah, okay,
I
okay.
don't
Nan
think about
said
him anymore.
he really liked this movie. So
I think
we're in
it's a
spoiler
contender
territory.
for top. If
We're
I'm
in-
gonna just start getting into the ranking, I think
Contender.
should
Was that a
highly-
boxing joke?
yeah,
That's
I
a
think
good
it
one.
should-
Yeah.
I think it should definitely well, you know how I feel about Infinity Pool. I don't care about Infinity Pool. I liked Megan. I like Missing. I think Creed, as you touched on in your intro, Char, is our first like real movie.
Yeah.
Somehow all these
Where you
others aren't
feel
real
things.
movies.
You feel
Yeah.
things.
And I'm hoping I'm not bolstering Creed 3 by having rewatched Creed 1 and watching Creed 2 for the first time. But they're all solid movies, and we'll go into them further. But Creed
Do you
3,
agree
I
with
think,
everything
was
I
great.
said in that intro? Like where it's like here's the trouble with ranking in general. The trouble is that when you, and we see this with Bond all the time, it's like, yeah, you only live twice. It's made its way to the bottom, and everybody's like, you hate it. It's like, no. Somebody has to be at the bottom. Somebody has to be at the bottom. But
Like
being at the
Cocaine
bottom
Bear is just as good as You Only Live Twice.
yeah, that's different. That's different. Somebody's got to be at the bottom, but being at the bottom of a list of 3 movies is not that doesn't mean that the bottom is bad. That just means that, how do you rank 3 really good movies? Well, inevitably somebody's got to occupy that bottom space. And for me, when it comes down to it, I revisited Creed 2 because like Creed 1 is untouchable. I think it's a perfect movie. I can't find a flaw in that movie.
Creed
It
1
is
was
perfection,
amazing.
right? And there's nothing better.
Tears, guys.
There is nothing better.
Did it really make
than
it?
I have to prove
Should've
that I'm
filmed
not a mistake, and then Rocky tells him that he loves him. That yes, McCurdy moves you to tears.
Move me to
right?
tears.
Like if I got Nan sitting next to me, I'm like, yeah, what a pussy, yeah. Like, if I don't have Nan sitting next to me, I'm like, shut up.
But
So-
you will willingly cry in front of me watching Lord of the Rings.
No, that's
So-
why I watch Lord of the Rings alone. That is a very personal thing. How
Masturbates to
dare
that
you
one.
bring
What are
that
you
up?
talking about?
Okay, how dare you? But no, okay. So Creed 1, perfect movie.
Great.
Perfect movie. Creed 2
Inevitable.
is a
Creed 2 is
continuation.
inevitable.
Inevitable.
It's an inevitable.
It's a continuation, a very good continuation. But
Refer
it's
to it as the Creed cool.
the Creed cool. And then
3 is
3 is like 3 is like subtle.
Three.
And so that the discussion is with the mini rank, the discussion is only between Creed 2 and 3, with 1 being untouchable.
I
If
think-
Creed 1, if we were ranking Creed 1 on this list, straight to
Yeah.
the top, no questions asked.
Yeah.
I will kind of make a fight for Infinity Pool because I think Infinity Pool is closer to being like the difficulty is that Infinity Pool is one of those movies that makes you feel like you need a shower afterwards, but it's got strong messaging. But it is a little more complete. This movie had a couple of missteps,
I think
couple
this
of
movie
misfired.
this movie has baggage. This movie
Yes,
has baggage, and I think the baggage is it's a sequel. So
Yes.
But if you were doing the mini rank, Chucky, if you were doing the mini rank, I would put 3 in the middle of that ranking. So I'd
That's
do
fair.
Creed 1, Creed 3,
That's fair.
and Creed 2 at the bottom. And the reason really comes down to, I think, Creed 2, the middle half of the movie, it's formulaic, and 2 is just kind of like leaning on its laurels, I think, a little too much. 3 tries to stand on its own, and I think in many ways it succeeds. Some ways it doesn't, but I think we'll talk about it as we go on.
It's really difficult to because like if you go back to Creed 2, you're like okay. Because I'm with you. I was like, as I'm watching Creed 3, I was like, I think this beats Creed 2. But then I went back and I watched select moments of Creed 2, and I'm like, okay, the son of Drago
It's so
versus Apollo's seed, right?
Yeah.
Like it's
both being
it's
trained
so-
by the
and
That's
maybe
to me,
I should
that's
be
where it gets.
separating out. Maybe I should
No,
be separating out Rocky.
and that's where to
maybe I should
me,
in a
that's
vacuum.
I did the
That's
same
where, to
thing
me,
driving
is where it
home. I
feels
was like,
like-
man, Creed and Creed cool. They're so close, but
Threed
and I'm hoping I'm like
Prequel.
removing the
Prequel.
Rocky element. Like hopefully Creed 3 doesn't fall short of 2 just because it doesn't have Rocky, because I love the aspect of Adonis versus Damien and how they were friends and Damien went to jail because of like
They built a story around
that whole
3.
story in Creed 3 is so good.
3,
Remember what I said?
think
Most-
that's the
I think that's the
strongest
most
part, is
unique
3
bad guy.
just- Yeah.
That
Yeah,
is
I
the
love-
most unique
yeah.
bad guy in the entire franchise. Because otherwise, it was always just like a big baddie. But this time, and that's good. Like for something like Rocky 4, you needed it to be this roided out Soviet, right? But with this, it was, and you know me, based off Bond, like I love my personal stuff. This was personal
story.
as hell, right?
Yeah.
But overall, though, the unfortunate thing is that I remember just kind of like afterwards, I was like, I can't help but think maybe it was the direction. Like Michael B. Jordan did a great job, but it still was his first, and it was like some things were a little flat where the volume could have been turned up on it. Like there were times where I was like, I should be hating this guy, right? And I like that they kind of made good at the end, but I should be hating this guy. We need to turn up the drama really hard on this. And it wasn't there. Whereas with Creed 2, you have that. Like you have I mean, at times you're rooting for the Dragos. You know,
It's
you're
almost like he
I want
wanted
Drago
to make
win.
Damien not a bad guy, but he has to be the bad guy.
Yeah.
So it's like a weird balance.
Like once he switched, it was like obviously the scene on the beach, you're like, yeah, let's kick some ass. And then his wife is like, forget about what I said about use your words.
Yeah, right.
Let's kick his ass.
That scene stuck out. Like,
but we needed more of that.
180s.
But we needed more of that.
Yeah,
I agree. We needed
was,
that volume cranked up, and then
that's
I would have
exactly,
been like, yeah, you know. But
yeah, that's exactly what I thought actually after watching this one, and I wrote this down so before we got in. I see Jordan is trying something new. Hold on, what was it? Let me make sure I have the right one. Did I write this here or there? No, but basically what you're saying, and this is what I felt like, was that you get to these movies have become very formulaic, especially the Creed films. Like they're very much like the beginning of the movie, we have some kind of mini fight that just sets the characters up. It might be in like the opener of the movie. The second fight is the midpoint fight, and that's going to be the point where Creed's going to fail somehow. This time it's mentally he fails. He doesn't fail physically, but because he let his friend do this thing, he didn't realize that it was going to make him look bad and things were going to go bad in a different direction. Then he actually finds out, no, he was actually getting played. And then, of course, the end of the movie is always like Creed's going to fight the big baddie at the end, the final fight, and he's going to win. The thing that I think you're kind of talking about, Charlie, is that we get a good turn heel situation right after that midpoint fight where, and this is what I also think about Jonathan Majors, is he can play a good turn heel. Like he play very
good guy.
He can play pathetic and sympathetic. Yeah. And okay, so when we were talking about Ant-Man 2 weeks ago, I kind of forgot to mention in Loki, his version.
That's what I said. I was like, that's what we needed. We needed him to pretend to be a good guy at first, and then switch.
His version in Kang that the version of Kang he plays in Loki, he is a completely different he's a completely different Kang. He plays kind of more pathetic and kind of aloof.
He's a different variant.
He's kind of wacky and a little crazy. And then when he comes to Quantumania, like of course he's playing more of like a friends type character in the beginning, and then obviously in the end we realize no, he's like a maniacal maniac. Like he's like, you don't want to mess with this guy. He's evil. I wish
wore a hoodie for a reason. I'm just remembering that I had this hoodie on.
I just wish after you find out that like he duped Creed when he was at the beach, and they're like, I wish maybe while Adonis is having his like he's training and everything, I wish there was other fights or something to gap that space in between. He won the one time and then he's just sitting pretty. I wish there was more to that or something or
him. Okay, when they got on the phone, when they got on that, they get on ESPN and he starts talking trash, right? He's like, you're a fraud and your legacy, like, your life should have been mine. So he's just like, everything you've done is fake and blah, blah, blah. And that's all great. And that's where I was like, we need more of that. We really should be hating this guy going into the fight.
The guy that Adonis beat up at the gas station, what if
Leon.
Damien, what if Damien found Leon and got him on the news and made Creed look bad? Like not only is he like trash talking him, but he's like making him look bad. Like that's what I
think that all feeds into what you're saying, McCurdy, with like there needs to have been more
just
fleshed out between the initial call out on live TV and their fight.
I wish there was just something where he could have turned the knife a little bit
and win. But every time he's calling out Creed. Come get me, Creed.
Okay, the movie is 2 hours long, right? Perfect length, but they wasted and this is the baggage for me. The baggage is the daughter stuff. The daughter stuff was perfect in the second movie, right? Where it was like the focus is still on Creed himself, but the daughter stuff was like, it started with it's cute. Don't get me wrong, it's cute, but it's like she should have been more in the background. Instead, I get that sinking feeling that they're gearing up to do like daughter of Creed
at the very end. I got that.
No, like fuck you. If you do that, I'm out. Unless you wow me. Like maybe
I think that's going to be.
Maybe she should do MMA. maybe she
probably
should, if she does
yeah.
MMA, maybe that, like, she does like
and
mixed
she
martial arts.
dies, so Creed fights.
I think, Charlie,
Yeah.
the thing that
But
I
hang
think
on,
the
hang on.
movie-
Let me
I think-
let me
I
get
think
into it
the
though,
thing
real quick.
that-
Let me get into
Okay,
it.
go ahead, go ahead.
It's that we're wasting a lot of time with that. Whereas what happened? It was like she somebody at school ripped up her art piece, right? So what did she do, fellas? What'd she do? She punched her in the face. And then the next scene is like, I need to teach her how to defend herself. It's like, apparently she already knows how to defend herself. Like, she punched the kid out. Like, we're wasting time. There should have been some kind of progression there. Maybe she got beat up. Maybe something happened, and then he starts training her, or she's just interested. But by the end, I was like, okay, maybe a couple of these cute scenes between them. You know, like obviously the tea party scene, great. The scene at the end, cool. That's great. But everything else was like, this is a waste of time. We need to be building up our hatred for Damien. That's what we need to be doing here. And instead, we're fucking around with something that was backwards. Again, it was like, what's the point of this?
I don't think it was backwards.
Part of it was
I don't
the
think
theme.
it was backwards. And here's the thing. I don't think it was backwards. But to your point, I have a reason to your point. I don't think it was backwards. I think the point of it was for Bianca to be
the
like,
theme of use your words.
Is like, you don't need to fight
use
him.
your
You
words.
can use your words. You guys should talk this out. You know, and that. But the problem was the end of the movie's answer to the argument is still beat the shit out of each other. So it's like, it doesn't make sense that was the argument.
But I'm
there.
cool with that.
And you're
cool with that.
Yeah, but you're saying the reverse, maybe like there should have been a build there. My thing was not that we spent too much time on the daughter. My problem with the movie was we spent too much time having to kill off the mom. And I'm like, I felt like, I don't know if that was necessary for this story.
I think it's more necessary than the daughter stuff.
It doesn't. I don't know how her death necessarily weighs on anything other than the fact that she kept these letters from him. And yeah, it's devastating. But I'm like,
I think it's in the same way.
I would have rather saved if you're gonna kill Marianne Creed off.
To achieve in Creed 1 and 2, and now he's retired. He's about his family.
Sure.
Right.
Sure, but I feel like if you need to get rid of Marianne Creed, maybe hold that off for a movie 4 if that's the case. I just don't think her death really adds more to the story. I think what you and I we're all in agreement is we should have had more of Damien being
turning up the dial of hating Damien.
Yeah, we should have had more of that. And I feel like we just lost a lot of it because there's the daughter stuff, but I really felt like we spent a lot more time with the Creed. Now, the other thing I was going to mention was this movie has a lot of shades of Rocky 3, and there was talks when they were talking about doing this movie. They were thinking about there was, I guess, a boxer, an actor playing Clubber Lang's son, but I think that would have been too on the nose and too cliche if every single movie was just, oh, I'm going to fight one of Rocky's people, but it's his son now. And like, I feel like that would have been bad. I'm glad they went this direction. But
I do
see the shades of it. I do see the shades of that movie because that movie is Rocky's at his top of his game. He's got all the money in the world. He's got a family. But then there's this guy named Clubber Lang who's coming around and he's just beating the shit out of everybody. And he's like, I want you, Rocky. I want you next. And that's what this movie is. But it's also like the Creed version of it.
Yeah. So my point is that the daughter should have been there, but just in the background, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe in the next movie, she's like a teenager and she's starting to get in trouble at school, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, like again, classic scene, right? Where, okay, Dad, I'm being bullied. What do I do? And he's like, here's what you do with a bully. Okay, you walk up, punch, let's say female bully or dude, punch them right here as hard as you can.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And they won't bug you anymore. I had to do that. I did that in grade school. Guess what happened? Bully never bugged me again. That is a classic lesson. And then you have the mom being like, use your words. And that's important because that's like, that's the feminine side, right? Use your words. And then the masculine side is sometimes communication fails and a motherfucker just needs to get punched. Fantastic lesson that everybody needs to hear at some point in their life. My point being that the first thing that the daughter did was throw a punch. So it was like, she already knows what to do. Every scene after that was just wasting time that should have gone to Major. So I agree with you that like daughter should have been in the background, then go ahead and kill mom, because that's fine. That was a great scene. Like you know, but then in Creed 4, then the daughter starts coming back. Maybe do the bully stuff in Creed 4. In this, daughter's just floating around. She's there. We don't need any personal stuff with that. She's just just like the wife. Like, she's just part of home life, and he's doing tea parties and shit. Everybody's happy, or they're all happy. And then the focus is on Damien. And we just didn't have, leading up to, again, 2 hours long. I would have sat through a 2 hours, 15 minutes if they would have built up more hatred for Damien. And then even in the final fight, again, spoiler, guess what? Creed wins. But I remember right when he won, right when he gave that final punch, and then it was like, it's over. I was like, wait, what?
I felt the same way.
It's already over?
I kind of felt,
what the fuck?
I felt like, okay, I watched the first and second one this week because I hadn't watched them. And I went and I finished the second one, drove straight to the theater, saw this one.
You called me and you were like, I meant to only watch a few minutes of Creed 1.
And I
sat through the whole thing. And I'm like, yes, because it's so damn good. Yeah. I watched it with Nance, and I kept being like, Nance, it's so good.
But the thing is, I think the thing is I think both of those films do a really good job in the final fight of like really feeling the lows and the highs and the build up and you're like, okay, like is he gonna make it this fight? Now, obviously the first one, like they kind of played off with the first Rocky where he doesn't win the fight, but he goes toe to toe and he almost wins.
He goes the distance.
He goes the distance. The second one, he beats him, but like you're also like, I don't know if he's gonna do it. This one, I wasn't like, I just felt like it was.
Do you think their fight should have been longer?
It's not the length.
Because I really like the montage they do.
I also thought that was an interesting thing because I will say again, like I say, these movies have gotten very formulaic. The beats are always the same.
Yeah,
they haven't really, and it's not like they need to, but it's like if you've seen these movies back to back, you're like, I feel like I've watched the same movie multiple times, and I'm glad that Jordan was like, okay, let me try to put some influence outside of the boxing ring. Let me look at some anime movies. Let me do something a little more operatic, which we get in this fight where it's just them fighting. I wish that
I really liked that. Personally.
I did like that. Yeah. I just wish they could have gone, totally. I think, harder on that. Really,
yes.
I feel like if we got all of a sudden they're not rock. I don't know if this happened or maybe I'm imagining this, but if it wasn't Creed and Dame, and then all of a sudden they're it's the kids and they're fighting or something, you know, like it could have been more, or we like go back to that scene.
To your point, they like a big thing for me was I understand for holding your interest that the movie is cutting all over the place. It's not very linear, and maybe you could say it's like we did that to give a sense of what it feels like to, 20 years have gone by and we're trying to, he's forgotten things, but he hasn't really. But really, I'm watching it going, I really wish you would have just this if this movie was more linear, I would have been okay with it. Like it starts with them in juvie, right? Or the group home, whatever it was. And they're being beaten. And then, and then he's out and he's living with Apollo's wife, his mom. And then they instead, the way they cut it up, so you're getting breadcrumbs, bits and pieces throughout the story. And I was like, but it's not like there were no big shocking reveals. So it all ended up just being kind of just like, it made it more vague. And that's where I was like, we really should and even
maybe we could have used a 15-minute childhood montage of them growing up.
It's not that.
No, but hang on.
They kept alluding to this Leon guy, and it was like,
yes, and that's what I mean.
More to that.
If it was more linear, it would have been more enjoyable. But here's my theory. My theory is that maybe it was linear at some point, and they were like, that this isn't hitting as hard, so let's confuse it. I've said this a lot. Like sometimes they edit things out of order to confuse the audience into thinking that it's more profound than it is. And so even things like the revelation that she withheld the letters and all these things that led to this kind of miscommunication between him and Damien, it unfortunately, I think it's such a good idea for a bad guy. It's such a good idea. but part of it fell flat.
Mhm.
And that's why I say the volume wasn't turned up high enough on him being a bad guy, because of things like, okay, wait, so they're best friends, and then they're rolling together a lot, and then the liquor store thing happens, and then he goes to jail, but then like he's writing letters, but then his mom is withholding the letters, and then but then he gets out and he's like, you still abandoned me. He's like, but dude, I didn't get the letters. Like, it almost would have been better if he just had ignored him entirely and the letters wasn't part of it. You know what
I don't
mean?
think it's the edit. I think there was more to the story that maybe they were like maybe listening to Stallone a little bit, and they're like, because Stallone's issue was that this movie was a little too dark, which I could see that as far as the personal story being a little too dark. I think here's the thing. I think what happened. I think Leon got killed. I think that Damien actually shot Leon,
somebody,
or Creed actually killed Leon, or something along those lines. And they just were like, okay, that's a little too much. Like, we got to tone it back. So we just left it kind of open as like, oh, he got beat the crap out of.
Yeah.
And like, I feel like the movie.
Are you thinking in the edit that changed?
I think when I say the edit, you're saying as far as like reordering the scenes. I think they had a story that they had, and then they ended up chopping out that story entirely and kind of neutering what I think you and I all feel is that we just needed Damien to be more bad. And like that would have been, I think that would have really changed the flow. Like, I like the idea of like, we go to this gas station. He says, hey, Leon, he starts beating up, and then we cut and we don't know what happens after that. And then later we find out, oh, he was beating up Leon, and then Damien came out with a gun, and that's how they went to jail. It would have been nice if like there was more to that story, like Damien actually shot somebody, and then we found out there was, or we find out that, oh yeah, the guy that Creed beat up, he went to jail, or sorry, he went to the hospital, like, and
or he
died.
was boxing in prison, and
or there could have been so many. There could have been.
Someone
I'm
in
just saying,
prison
like, if we found out that Leon had died because Creed had punched the crap out of him, like that would have like, and then you have that moment when we get to that between the two fights, and he's calling him a liar and calling him on stuff, and he's like, yeah, actually Creed killed a guy, and then people are like, wait, what? That would have been huge news. That would have torn this guy down.
If there's a 2.5 hour cut of this that has all of that, or even has
Michael
like
B. Jordan cut,
like, yes, exactly, and just it has like, has
versus the Rocky cut,
has a 15-minute opening of them just being in juvie leading up to the incident, like that would have been fantastic. But instead you get it like, okay, it's like, okay, he pulls a gun, and then we cut, and then a little while later we get more. And so for me, by the time I knew everything, I was like, yeah, I already understood all this kind of, but you're kind of giving it to me in this vague breadcrumby way that is killing the effect. You're killing the effect by doing that. And then on top of that, you're so that's past stuff, right? So that's one thing. I could maybe give that a pass, but then even in the present, we needed more, because again, I love the theme of regret, right? Everybody's got regrets. Everybody. So it's like, what if I hadn't pulled that gun, and he did that to help Creed, and then Creed ran away, and so Creed's regretting things, and on top of all that, it's like he had his life. Damien had his life planned out, right? He's like, I'm going to be a champ. Everything he lays out, Creed goes and does. So he thinks that Creed stole his life, which he did, and then he steals it back. And what we kind of needed was Damien. We needed to see that flip where suddenly Damien is like, he's on billboards, right? Because we see Creed, as Creed's going throughout his life, you're seeing him, like you said, Rocky at the top of his game. You're seeing Creed like whatever, like on billboards and in commercials, and like every
building.
He's the man. Everywhere he looks, he's in the spotlight. He is the man.
Could have done that in a montage.
We needed Damien to take his place everywhere. He should have been driving, and suddenly Damon's the Ralph Lauren billboard on the wall, right? Like, we needed that, where it's just like, I gotta get it back. Like, that's what we needed, and we got that. We had the beach scene, which was a start, but we needed more of that. We needed the like, like he's on talk shows, and he's like, like Creed was a fraud. Like back in he used to carry my gloves. he's a bitch. You know, I was boxing in prison for 20 years, and I came out. I beat him first fight. You know, or actually they didn't fight until the end, but you know what I'm saying. And because we didn't get that, it was like, and that's what I mean. I'm like, good first movie, Michael, really good first movie, but like a different director would have cranked up those emotional things. They would have cranked on that.
I don't know, but here's the thing. I don't know if that was because again, like this is you got to remember this is Ryan Coogler being like, here's my brother and some other guy write this movie.
Yeah.
So I do wonder. I'm just wondering. I might be able to find this out actually, Charlie. I might be able to find this out. This film was filmed in Atlanta, and I may or may not know some people who worked on it. So I could find out. But I do feel like maybe they wrote the script and maybe this being his first movie, maybe he didn't have as much say as to like, wait, we need this scene or we need this. Like it could have been something like that. Maybe those scenes existed. Maybe somebody thought, oh, this turns the movie too dark or whatever, because we want it to be a little more uplifting because it could be if we crank it too hard, you know, Jonathan Majors at the end of the movie, we can't have that moment where they make up, like, and we can't bring him back for the sequel, and we can't bring Jonathan Majors back from the sequel because he's too evil. You know what I mean?
But here's the thing. They had him do a bunch of his first fight, right? Damien does a whole bunch of dirty stuff.
Yeah,
and so then you're anticipating him doing some dirty stuff against Creed.
I wrote that down.
Never does.
I wrote that down. That was something.
Anything
I don't know enough about boxing, but is punching your opponent's arm against the rules?
No, but like elbowing
that
them
to Creed. Yeah,
he also
punches Creed's arm, but he doesn't go beyond that.
He just that's the thing. If I bet in the script they had everything we're talking about, and then somebody's like, "This is too dark." It's like, no, but if you're gonna go dark, do it. Don't shoot it and then pull back, because then it just weakens everything, right?
Nan's nickname is Nance.
Yeah. No. Okay. Wait. Hang on. I got it.
I can't edit it, so
no, I got it.
I think.
Hey, I gotta pull it. We gotta at least pull this up at least once.
There's
if we're talking crap about this movie.
There's his nickname. Nance the Nance. That's so again, so that's kind of my point, is like, I think we all dig that, because the thing about boxing movies in general, every time I hear about a new boxing movie, it's kind of like when I hear a new Pixar movie, I'm like, yeah, you think you can just sucker me back in? How are you going to do it? And they always do it. It's like, how can this boxing movie be different from anything else? And they generally pull it off. It's like, oh, it's just a movie about people punching each other. But like,
it doesn't need to be different.
But damn it, you win me over. Yeah, exactly. Like, damn it, you win me over.
It's
but
just such a good
but with
formula.
this, they did it different, not just in the origins of the bad guy, which again, I think that's the most unique to me.
I love
most unique of anybody from Rocky or Creed. Fantastic. Yeah. But if like leading up to that last fight, they start getting abstract. And we've never seen that before, where like suddenly the entire crowd goes away and it's just these two men punching each other. Fantastic. That is great. Then we start getting hints. We get like flashback things where like suddenly prison bars show up, right? Of course, because Damien was in prison for 20 years. And then we get like a rolled up mattress thing, which we never really get definitively. That's another one of those dark elements that must have been edited out. Like seeing these kids in juvie getting beaten up by their whatever. They're like some.
It was a foster parent type.
Foster parent, yeah. It's like hints of those things, but never enough to sink our teeth into, which I think is a shame. So we get hints of those things, but what was weird was like, Damien was so hard the whole time, right? But he started to get soft. Like both of them kind of started to get soft and kind of like nostalgic. They both were, as opposed to like both pissed off. It was like maybe Creed got more and more pissed off, but Damien, like I think he was about to cry at one point. Like
I thought Creed was going to incorporate into his dirty talk, like, my mom never gave me the letters. Like, I didn't know you were writing.
To your point, I was expecting there to be personal shit during the fight, kind of like in Creed 2 when he's like, he gets his Mustang back and he's like, yo, give me my keys, somebody get my keys, because the Mustang was his dad, so it's like this important thing, right? But with this, I was expecting that, and not getting that was what was kind of odd. It was like Damien's no longer doing any dirty stuff. We have these odd abstract things that are cool, but without any kind of like interaction between them. I was like, that's what we're missing. Like we're missing the emotionality that I think that any other director would have put in there. But I have to blame Michael B. Jordan. It's like it was a really good first effort, but I think any other director would have done these things. They would have controlled the emotional dials in a way that and again, the main point being that when the fight ended, I was like, shit, we needed another beat there. And I think another director would have been like, we need another beat right here before the win. We need another beat. And even something that would have disarmed Damien. Like he was getting really close with the wife, right? Like maybe something with that, maybe paying off her thread of her being kind of close with him and identifying with him. Because remember, and I thought this was brilliant, but it didn't really go anywhere. Hang on. I thought this was brilliant, but it really didn't go anywhere. Was you had she's losing her hearing. So now she's not a singer anymore so much as she's a producer. So she sits back and watches other people perform her songs. Like other people do her passion, right? And that's exactly what happened to Damien. So that's where they connect. And they connect in that one scene, but that doesn't really pay off with anything. And so like I'm like, that's brilliant that both of these characters are kind of embodying the same theme. Yeah. But obviously she watches other people do her songs, and then Damien's whole thing is he was in prison watching his old brother, best friend, rise to living his dream. But like, if that would have connected in the end, and that would have maybe disarmed him a little bit emotionally, and then that's what allowed Adonis to win. Like, you know what I mean? Like these are the things where I'm like, was Michael B. Jordan not considering these things? And then the fight just ends, and I'm like, wait, what just happened? Like the fight was over before it like felt like it was time. You know what I mean? And that's where for me, I'm like, this movie's so good on one end, but again, baggage and just kind of like misfires is why I put it at 3, but it's still good. It still has such a good bad guy, but it doesn't beat 2 for me, which nailed all of these things. And then 1 is unfucking touchable.
Yeah. For me, I think it's just 2 is just too cartoony. It leans so heavily. And I think 4 has always been considered like it is the most ridiculous, outlandish one of the bunch. But people love it. Not 4. Yeah. 4. Rocky 4.
Rocky 4. Okay.
Rocky 4.
Yep.
Rocky 4 has always been considered the most outlandish, the most over the top. People love it. I'm not saying it's a bad one, but it is just so over the top. And I feel like 2 is just harnessing that energy a little too much. And it has to rest on its laurels. It's like, oh, you remember 4? Well, we're going to do 4 2. So it's Rocky 4 2 is Creed 2. And I'm like, okay, this at least they were like, no, we're going to scrape everything off. We're going to start fresh. We're going to basically write a completely new story that's sort of inspired by Rocky 3, but it's more of its own thing. And that's what I think it does really great
at. For those reasons, I agree with Nico.
Yeah. I think it's a 1-3-2. But
it's tough.
We're not ranking that. But
I know we want to just focus on these good Creed movies.
We do. Nance, can you put that up? That thing I posted real quick. Can you put that up? Because I just need that up.
This.
I just need this. I just need this. I spent a lot of time on this.
These movies are so motivating. In like, I want to hit the gym. I want to learn how to box. I want to start watching.
I was lifting weights.
But Nance, to that point though, I challenge you to that end, because I agree with you. I was, but before we got on, I rode my face off as I was watching select scenes from Creed 2. Watch to that end. Watch the let's say the action scenes of Creed 2 and 3, and like I think the training montage of 2 beats 3.
Yes. Yeah.
I think the fights of 2 beat 3. The dramatic stuff, that's a different story, right? Because when it comes to the Dragos, I'm like, damn, this stuff is good. I have a hard time. I kind of want the Dragos to win. I mean, when old Drago's looking at young Drago and he's like, this is why she left us. That's some powerful shit. That is as powerful as I I need to prove I'm not a mistake, right? Like, God damn it, what a good moment. Both of those are good moments. Again, Creed 1, untouchable. But the Dragos in 2 are so good. And then in this one, the bad guy is better, but like the fights and the montages, the stuff that pumps you up, the stuff that makes this franchise what it is, I think all that stuff is just executed better in 2. And I mean, like, I'm just gonna say, when we do stuff like this, we do like these rough ranks, right?
Yeah.
Like, you guys are saying 1, 3, 2. I'm saying 1, 2, 3.
This is not
Until
a
we
fully
do the
produced-
franchise, until we do it, because when we do it, I watch each of these like over and over and over.
Yeah,
right?
I'd have
Because
to
I
watch
want
2
to
and 3
be
again.
sure. I've seen 3 once, and again, they give
I've
it to you
watched
in this
2 once and 3
gobbledygook
once.
way. Yeah, they
And
give
Creed
you
twice, maybe. Creed,
get-
it's just so obvious though that 1 is 1.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, obvious, yeah.
Yeah.
Not
But
even-
they get this movie gives you all the info in this like gobbledygook way, and then 2 gives it to you all linearly. It begins with Drago, and it's got the it really builds up their story, and then you and it's all linear. I think linear storytelling is better for
Simple.
these movies, and the nonlinear stuff weakens the emotionality. That's where I'm at. So, but anyway, again, I'm 1, 2, 3. You guys are 1, 3, 2. Let's move on to figuring out where it ends up in 1 through what will be 9 here.
I already said 1. I know you guys loved Infinity Pool though, so I'm curious to hear what you guys think about.
I'm not going to try to reiterate all of our points. I just think I think based off of what we're saying, it is a near perfect. It is perfectly stated as, I think it's a near perfect movie. I would put it at 2 on our list. It's really hard for me to be like, because I can't really think of the many flaws of Infinity Pool. I feel like Infinity Pool was such a treat just to be like, this is a new thing. We have it's like a really good, it's really well told story that has it more personal, like anybody can learn from this story kind of thing. It's not specific to any one person or people. I think the issue with this movie is Creed 3 just has a little, like if this was up against Creed, yeah, I'd put Creed, like I agree with Charlie, I'd put Creed at our number 1 of our list, but it's Creed 3. I think Creed 3 has some misgivings, specifically towards the second part of the second act, and then going into like that third act. There are things that I just wish would have been cranked up to 11, and they're not. And they were easy things that you could have changed or added in the script early on to make that work. And I feel like it was a moment of like, do we let these two other actors get more screen time than our villain in the movie? That's really what I feel like. I feel like they were like, well, Marianne Reed's, the actor, Felicia Rashad's like, this is my last one. Okay, well, we got to give her a lot of screen time. And then like, we got to go back to what we promised in the last movie with Creed's daughter. We got to do more with that. Like, I feel like what you were saying, Charlie, is just, they gave a lot of screen time to that stuff. I wish that they had given it more to the villain. I just feel like it's still a really good movie, and I would recommend, like, we didn't recommend it. I would definitely recommend. This is like one of those, I don't give a shit. I'm going to directly recommend it to anybody who wants to go see a good movie this year. Go see Creed 3. It's really good. Go see that movie. But on the list, I'm like, yeah, I like it better than Megan. Missing's always been one of my favorites, but I can see why this is, as a movie, this is just generally a better movie. And then I don't really have to say much about the other movies on the list, but yeah, I'd put it at number 2.
For me to follow that up would be to just repeat everything you said.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I hinted at the beginning is, and I said it in the opening. I'm like, this is our first movie of the year.
Yeah.
And something like Infinity Pool is a downer. I think it's incredibly meaningful, but it is one of those movies that makes you feel like you need to shower, like you've been hit by a truck. It gives you positive messaging by showcasing evil, and I love movies like that. Megan just is one of those that, again, it's like Missing and Megan suffer from a shoddy third act, right? So it immediately surpasses those for me by being a complete film. If this one, again, we've said it over and over, if this was Creed 1, straight to the top, no questions asked. But because of the baggage, and again, like Infinity Pool was made by Cronenberg, the son of Cronenberg, who had a couple of movies under his belt. And so, and this is Michael B. Jordan's first movie, and whether that's the cause or not, it's just not as complete. And it's Infinity Pool is complete. And, imagine one of these weekends we watch the equivalent of like Saving Private Ryan. We're just like, okay, straight to the top. This review is 5 seconds long. Like, we're done. With this, we're still dealing with, we're coming out of January and February where just, a lot of just kind of like half-baked movies. And so from here, I predict that most of these will be pushed down as we move ahead. Creed 3, what haven't we said? It is good, but it's flawed. Whereas Infinity Pool doesn't have flaws. You may not like it as much, but it doesn't have flaws. Megan, missing everything below 2.
If you're like me, a man of the people.
Yeah.
Infinity Pool down, Creed 3 up.
Exactly, because it's feel good. It's feel good. But Nance, if it was Creed 1, we'd be with you. We'd be with you. But that's not the case.
Go buy Creed 1 and 2 for $15. Watch those. Go see Creed 3 in theaters.
Yeah.
Maybe
yeah, well, you're right. We didn't
really
do
McCurdy.
We didn't do recommendations, but I said in the intro, support this franchise, because this franchise, it's not being right now. It's not being goofy, and you all know what I mean by goofy. It's not like
there's no robot. There's no Woody or his trainer doesn't have a robot, and there's not like I can't remember any other. Nico, tell us another stupid
thing.
What I mean by goofy is that Creed didn't suddenly get knocked out, and then his daughter got in the ring and beat up the bad guy. And again, if they go that route, they better do it right. But
you
until
guys
then,
keep talking about a sequel. Do you think there's going to be another Creed? Because the way the whole end where he's like looking at the
if it makes money, it will continue.
Yeah, no, they've already said there's probably will be another movie. This movie has already made 100 million off of 75 million, which means and that's in the first week. So this movie's gonna definitely make enough money to be like, okay, yeah, we need to make Creed 4, because why wouldn't you do Creed 4? I hope they do Creed 5, so, and then the last one's called Adonis Creed. So
exactly.
Like, I wish they do 6 of these movies like they did the Rocky series. That would be so fitting. I could easily see, like, I think 4 or 5 is definitely going to be his daughter. And then she's going to be like you and I said, like UFA, like
if
UFC
they do
fighter,
MMA and she's like,
her.
if she becomes like, MCU, Black Widow, if she's like Black Widow and she's doing all kinds of crazy stuff, I'm in. If it's just boxing, that's stupid. You don't. That reminds me of, like, remember in the Halo series, it's like you go from being superhuman Master Chief, and then we do ODST, and it's like, do you want to just play as a normal Marine? Like, no, that sounds boring.
No,
we go from like fighting Drago to like fighting chicks.
No, there's like,
but if she does something cool, that's better.
But also, Charlie, there's like a ton of really great women MMA fighters. You got Ronda Rousey's one of the, the top. For a long time, she was like the top.
Boring.
Person.
Next to Drago.
Boring. I'm not saying she fights.
Stupid.
Shut up. I'm not saying she fights her, but I'm saying you have all like. I'm saying based off what you're saying is there is already precedent for doing something like that. So you already have a kind of a fan base for that. So they could do that. It'll be maybe a couple years down the road. I'm just saying, like, that's a great in for another movie, and then he has to train her and all that stuff. I think that'd be cool. The thing that I wanted to talk about,
it'd just be $1 Million Baby.
The one thing I wish this movie had, and I know the reason why they weren't going to do it, because it is a little cheesy. It is cheesy. The one thing I just wanted was that the fight's over, he's leaving the stadium, and then of course Balboa shows up, and he's like, "Where have you been?" And he's like, "I was in the stands with my family. I wasn't going to miss this for the world." Like something stupid like that. And I would have been like, that's awesome. Like, he just shows up at the end. like his son and his grandson, and they're actually watching the fight. Like that's what I just
Creed
that
should
one
train
little thing.
Rocky's grandson.
Oh, see, that's that movie. That's gonna
It's
be
gonna
Creed.
go on forever. Rocky in
Back and
space.
Creed and
That's-
Rocky.
that's-
Creed and
I was-
Rocky.
Charlie, the other thing I was gonna say is I do find it cheesy a little bit and I think it's just because we watched 1, 2, 3 back to back, and I know the original Rocky series did this, but it's hilarious to me that every time he beats somebody, that character comes back and he's an ally in the next movie, or it's like they're like buddy now. Like the last movie, what was it? The guy he fought in this movie, the guy who fought in the first movie, he beats him, and he's like, oh, great job, champ. Like they're buddies now, and then
Yeah.
and then of course Drago comes back in this one, and he's helping train him, and I was just like,
But I
so
I
the next
like
movie.
that. I do
I
that,
do want, so if they do that, I do want Jonathan Majors to come back for the next one. Either like maybe he's training Majors now, maybe they could do so much with that. There's a lot of things that they could do.
and again, that's my main
so many
thing. Even though I don't think this is better than 2,
Yeah.
I love that they did something different with setting up a bad guy. And so if they can keep that up, that keeps it fresh. And that's you guys know me. You guys know I'm all about I'm all about personal stakes and bad guy, right? Bad guy and bad guy plot. There's no bad guy plot outside of Bond movies really, but bad guy is what I'm all about. And this bad guy was great, but it's like the actual execution of the movie I think was subpar of Creed 2. But if they keep this up, this is how you keep it fresh. This is how
Majors is just too charismatic.
Yeah, it's too good.
Even when he's
so good.
bad, you're like, I really like him though.
yeah. So
I
I wish I would have hated him more, and
There
then
is some-
loved him at the end.
I'm
right?
gonna
But-
assume middle-aged women in the theater when he had his shirt off. Just, yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to
It's
see
impressive. Like
ripped.
these two guys are the funny thing about Jonathan Majors he fits his body. There's something about Michael B.
One thing I
Jordan
was
that
gonna
he
say.
kind of looks like a small guy who's been crazily jacked.
Okay,
right?
wait,
Like,
hold on. Before you say that,
Crazily
let's
jacked. It's almost
look
like
at this
like he
image.
doesn't look like he
Well,
fits
clearly
his own
in these
body.
movies, they do not care about weight classes.
Okay,
Yeah.
Charlie,
They
go to this
even
image.
mention them,
Pull
but
this
like,
image
they're
up.
not abiding by
I
it.
got
Pull
you.
this image up. This is like I remember looking at this while I was walking out of the theater, and I'm like, Jonathan Majors looks huge. But and I remember like seeing Michael B. Jordan in other movies. He's jacked, but he's like smaller. This like the poster made him look almost just as equally as huge. And I don't know if that's just a trick of the like they could have photoshopped it, probably did. But still, I'm like, man, they make him look. He looks massive.
Yeah.
He looks huge.
Yep.
Like,
don't
They're
get me
both
wrong.
6 foot.
It's
I'm googling these
fantastic,
things
but,
right now.
But
6
there's
foot.
when you see Jordan standing in the mirror, it's like God. It looks like his top has just been magnified, whereas Majors kind of looks.
Well,
Like,
and
he
like along
looks
these same lines in Creed
proportional.
2, like no way is he fighting that Russian guy.
Yeah,
Drago's son.
Drago, son of
Victor
Drago.
Drago.
Yeah.
75 grand.
So, the other thing I was going to say, because Charlie, you always say like we forget things, and we were going to talk about them afterwards, and you're like, oh, you shouldn't.
Check my notes are clear. Check your notes. No
I did.
regrets.
I just did. I just
Okay,
checked
what
them.
you got? What
So
you
the
got?
one thing I was going to say, you were kind of harping on
They're not the
Jordan
same
B's
height and
directing on this film. The one thing I did like that he added to this franchise is a much more subjective view from the fighters in those fights. Because a lot of these movies are very objective as far as we just see the fight from the side of the ring. Yeah, we get close-ups of when they're like sitting in the sidelines or sitting in the corners as they're getting taped up and everything. We see those moments. But what I loved was like we got super close, like Raging Bull close to their faces. And then we get like in the beginning of the one thing I did think was weird is like in the beginning of the movie, we get this whole sequence as he's fighting his first foe from the first movie. And he's like he's like really tight on him, and he's watching him. So he's watching for the openings, and we see that. We see him like
we get like
see his eyes,
Sherlock
he's
Holmes
watching us.
stuff.
It was
And, like-
it was Guy Ritchie Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah,
style.
and I love
Yeah.
that. I love that, but
Yeah.
I'm like, why didn't we get that at the? I felt like we didn't.
There's
am I
like
wrong?
a teeny tiny bit of
I
it.
wish we
think.
got more of that at the end. If you're gonna set that
Yes.
up, pay it off a little bit more at the end of the movie, and then we get that again where he's like,
And they
looking for his
both should have
opening.
been doing it because apparently Creed stole that from Damien, right?
Yeah. So it would have been nice if we got a little bit of that. But I did
That's what
think
I
that
mean.
was a cool thing they added to.
That's what I mean.
to his
Incredible
direction.
foundations.
Yeah.
Fantastic foundations for story, bad guy, and all that. But execution, not quite as there as other things. And that's why. So in my Creed list,
Compared
that's
to
why
Creed
it
1
sinks
and
to the
2.
bottom. But then that's also why in our 2023 list, Infinity Pool, maybe it's not a feel-good movie, but it's but there are enough flaws in Creed 3 and what'd you call it, Threed? There are enough flaws in Threed to sink below Infinity Pool. And again, for the millionth time, if this was Creed 1, straight to the top, Nans, straight to the top. But there are enough flaws to objectively put it below Infinity Pool. We all know you don't like Infinity Pool, but Infinity Pool,
Yeah, and I can't argue too much
Beautiful.
against it, but
beautiful.
Yeah, I think Infinity Pool's pretty.
it's just a
perfect.
normal
This
moviegoer.
movie's-
I want to watch Creed 3 instead of Infinity.
And that's the thing. My favorite on the list currently is still Missing. Like, I love that movie. I love the.
And I
but,
think
you
it
know, we
belongs
put it at
where
number.
it's at.
You know, it's fine where it's at, but it's like,
Yeah.
when you think about some of these movies, it's like, would I return to the theaters to see some of these? I'm thinking like I would rather go see Missing than see Megan again. I would see Infinity Pool. But you know, like but if I'm trying to be objective, is like, what was the better movie overall? I think Creed 3 is the number 2 spot.
Nico
Makes
says on
sense.
February 2nd, 2023, Jordan confirmed that a 4th Creed film was happening for sure.
No.
And that spin-offs were also being considered. So
It's going to be
I
about
just wanna know-
Marianne. It's going to be about
Kill Rocky.
Marianne Creed in heaven fighting.
dude, okay.
Well,
Opening
that's what he said.
opening of the movie. I'm calling it now.
Creed's
The opening
daughter's
of the
gonna be a
movie is going to
YouTuber,
be Rocky's
then
funeral.
she's
We're
gonna
not
be
even
in
going to
this
see Rocky, but we're going to be at his funeral
All
for
right.
the opening.
I'll hold you to it.
Yeah.
I'll hold you to it.
So you gotta put him away. You gotta do something. Or how about this? It opens with Rocky on his deathbed, and he's just like, yo, kid, my brain's dying. My brain, because we all know
Well,
like
it wouldn't be his
that
brain. It'd be the
brain-
Traumatic
lymphoma.
brain, whatever it is.
oof, yeah,
It'd be the
so-
lymphoma that he had. It came back, and then that would be an easy.
But
way
dude,
to
my
kill him off.
God, the amount
You
of
didn't
brain
train me
damage he's
how
got.
to fight cancer.
And he's
you
gonna.
didn't train me how to
his
fight my
last word-
gangster.
his last words are gonna
ex-best
be,
friend.
He's like, yo, Adrian, and then just like the mom in this, where she's like, Apollo, I love you. He's gonna be like, hey, yo, Adrian, and then everybody's gonna be crying. It's gonna be beautiful, and then there'll be that heavenly image of Talia Shire floating
And
down.
some nurse is
pulling
gonna hold his
soul
arm
to
up,
heaven.
checking his pulse at his wrist, and it's gonna look.
It's
like
gonna
he's
look like this.
That's awful. That's fucking awful.
Instead of running up the steps, it's gonna be drips from the saline bag,
Like
or
slow,
or whatever.
Da da da.
Yeah.
Oh God, we need to stop.
And then it falls because it's got to fall.
Yeah. And then cut to the funeral. And then at the funeral, whatever.
I hate you.
Whatever.
Then it becomes coffin
stupid.
flop on.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's
SP, I love that.
Let's go
SP
for it.
says Creed's daughter fights a Chinese female fighter, and in the end, she ends the U.S.-China conflict and saves the world.
There you go.
There we go.
Yeah, by the time that movie
I don't
comes
know.
out, we're
World
going
War
to be in
III will have happened by then.
Exactly. We'll be in World War III.
China will
before any of this
invade
happens, so,
Taiwan. The U.S. will be in there and be like, "We need our semiconductors."
yeah.
And
So.
It's gonna be fun.
who knows?
That's going to be great. That's going to be great.
It's gonna be great. Oh, that
We'll
should
We'll be
say
ranking.
Creed,
We'll be
Charlie.
ranking world
Creed.
militaries by that point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who's good?
Yeah. By that point, we'll be like, China's great. China is the best.
We'll
We
be
rank
in
China the greatest
in
thing
some sort
ever.
of bunker in the middle of nowhere, United
Oh my
States.
God, please
China's the
don't.
#1 military.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I haven't
US
gotten
is-
my
God, we are
vaccine
sound
tickets
guys. Why
yet,
are we
but-
sounding like Infinity Pool? We
No,
should be
the
sounding like
US is
Creed
number
3.
one,
Come on,
obviously.
come on. We're sounding too Infinity Poolish.
Yeah, that movie sucks.
All right, fellas, check your notes. You got anything else? No regrets.
You think I have notes?
No regrets. I think I got all my feels
No,
out.
I looked. I said, yeah. We're talking about Jordan's direction. Talked about Jonathan Majors and how he is really good at changing from pathetic to sympathetic to evil.
So charismatic.
How this movie is similar to Rocky 3. Rocky showing up at the end of this movie would have been fun. These movies are formulaic, and
I'm
what
cool with
else?
Rocky not being in it.
and
at
then
all.
also the dirty
Not at
fight.
all.
We
Just
talked about.
out.
Yeah, it's fine. It would have been a little bit. It would have been like a cherry on top kind of thing. Yeah. Then we talked about the dirty fighting thing and how it was kind of just missing in the final act, and I wish it was there.
Yeah.
Something to those regards. Yeah, we talked about everything.
Like crank up the emotional stuff.
Something.
Crank it. But again, I think any other director would have. But on that note, McCurdy, a fantastic directorial debut by our man Michael B. Dude, be awesome. And I have to
throw
do
that up there.
There you go.
Throw that
Boom.
up there. I
So-
had to find him.
If
You
you,
know,
all were privy to
victory.
our Marco Polos, we were talking about Jonathan Majors some more.
Yeah. We already
He's
toasted
just
to
so-
him
he's
in
so
Ant-Man.
He's
I'm
He's
gonna
so good.
Chard, do you want to
Yeah.
watch Devotion this week?
Yes.
so good.
I don't know
So-
anything about it. I looked it up. It's got good Rotten Tomatoes score.
Yeah.
I like
But
war movies. I like.
If I watch it with
Jonathan
you though,
Majors.
I can't let my man tears out. So
Don't
I
be a
don't care
pussy.
if you cry.
maybe I'll watch it by
Don't
myself.
Shut up.
Well, what? We'll put a divider. You watch it on one TV, and I'll watch it on the other.
Okay, I'll be in the pool room.
Yeah, and then it'd be like you.
Oh my God.
Hey, I bet you're crying, you bitch. And it'd be like, I'm not crying. You're crying. Like like when we watch The Notebook, like that type of stuff.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. I was gonna
Anyway-
tell you-
Anyway,
Okay,
Runner
good
up.
job, Michael B.
I have a thing I was going to
Toast
say.
runner up is Mama Creed.
You wanted me to talk
Mama
about Michael.
Creed.
You wanted me to. I was going to
Mama
mention something.
Creed.
No.
Michael B. Jordan.
Yes, runner up Mama Creed because it's her last movie. So just
Her
like
last
mini
movie.
toast.
I
to
thought you
Mama
were saying
Creed.
she died, in which case maybe we would have to. But
No, I didn't see that she died.
I don't care.
She
It's
never
still
cared.
a
Died in
the
nice
movie.
She died in the
She's-
movie.
Yes, but the
Mini
toast
toast.
goes to
Whatever. Michael
McCurdy.
B.
Michael B. Jordan. Okay, so real quick story. I have to tell you this story. I can't reveal too much because I don't want to get in trouble. Because I'm in Atlanta and they're gonna kill me. So I live in Atlanta. I know a lot of people who've worked on a lot of these movies, including this movie. There was a movie. I'm not gonna say what movie it was, but I have a friend who was doing what a PA does, is locking it up, keeping actors from, or keeping people from walking onto set or being quiet. That thing. There was an actor that was kind of a dick about this, and he may or may not have been a very important character in this film.
Allegedly.
But that person was not Michael B. Jordan. He did say that Michael B. Jordan was in this movie, and Michael B. Jordan was actually one of the coolest people he met on the entire movie. And if I can tell you
I
later,
believe it.
but he said that he was really nice and really respectful to everybody on the crew. And he said a lot of it had to do with how
Dang.
his upbringing was. Like Charlie was talking about in the beginning, he worked, man. This guy has been in all sorts of stuff. He's been doing film and television since the late 90s, like 1999.
And he's not a
Um,
nepo baby.
No, he's
Wow.
not. He started he started on doing commercials, and then he obviously did those shows, and then he was on All My Children, which was it's a soap opera. He did a lot of that, and then of course now he's done all these
Man,
movies, and he's
he
probably
pulled his way
one of
to
the
the
biggest stars in Hollywood right now, and apparently he couldn't be the nicest guy. You know what I mean? He couldn't
That's
be even
awesome.
nicer.
So okay,
So-
real quick, I have just a vague similar story where nothing specific, but just somebody I've worked with in the past worked on Fruitvale Station. I think they were some level of producer on Fruitvale Station, and they were like, Michael B. Jordan is a future star. This was years ago. They're like, Michael
Yeah.
B. Jordan is an incredibly hard worker, incredibly focused, and down to earth, right? Like he's just
The
he's
perfect
that categorical first generation success, right? Where it's like he came from I don't know his past, but it's like came from nothing, right? So
Yeah.
not a nepo baby, and understands what it takes. And to see him go from that to then become the new Rocky, and then start directing Rocky, and
Become the
what
new
it takes to
Sylvester
be
Stallone.
Rocky, what it takes is to be huge. You can't just come in here and not become huge, you know, mentally and physically. So he is just an all around badass kind of guy. And this tiny little YouTube channel podcast is going to honor him tonight by downing the rest of our respective alcoholic beverages to the majesty of Michael B. Jordan. He made his first movie. This is his first movie that he's directed. Hopefully he makes a lot more and just kills
I'm
it.
looking
We know he
forward
will.
to more Michael B in the future.
He's got the
Michael
drive
B,
for
baby.
it. So we'll see you again, Michael B. Awesome.
If only he was in. Did you see the trailer for the Air Jordans?
Oh, like if he was Michael Jordan.
Yeah. But
That'd be,
did you?
that'd be
It's Ben
a little on the
Affleck
nose.
with Matt Damon.
Yeah.
Don't ruin the moment.
All right. Yeah.
Here's the
Moment
Michael.
ruined. All right. Cheers
Here's
to you,
Michael.
Michael.
Sorry,
All right.
Michael. If you ever watch this, which you never will.